with an non-stop day. It's safe to say we'll have some fun today on Geek World Radio.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Geek World Radio. We are your hosts, Anime and Dave. So a lot of the movies that have been coming out lately have some really good product tie-ins. For instance, we've got Wreck-It Ralph that has a whole lot of video game tie-ins. We've got Skyfall. James Bond has always been super adept at doing great product placement.
I mean, that's why you all know what an Aston Martin is, right?
Absolutely. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about some product placement in movies, some of the stuff that's been successful. I mean, think about it. Ever since we watched Sideways, we have been absolutely, obsessed with our California wines.
Yes. California.
The
finest vintage.
But we will not drink an effing Merlot.
No, we will not do that, no. Yeah. We're only drinking Pinot Noir, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Wow, that's just wrong.
That's how they say in California.
So, cheers.
Cheers. Yes. I gotta say, there's a lot of really famous product tie-ins that not only did a lot for the company, but frankly, I think that it's not one of those things that people look and they're like, oh, that's annoying. Mm-hmm. For instance, I think one of the first ones we'll talk about came from E.T.
Now,
you know what's up.
They actually were not going for Reeses Pieces originally. What did they want, Dave?
They wanted M&M's, but M&M's was like, I don't know if we want to pay for this stupid little alien movie. No one's going to see it. Who wants to see an alien movie where they're not taking over and they're all friends with kids? This is going to bomb.
Yeah.
Biggest bomb of the world. I have an inside source. It was the exact quote. I learned it.
So, the good news for Reese's was that they literally were a failing company. Reese's Pieces, they were never going to be a thing again.
No.
But, because of E.T., well, we continually eat them.
Yes.
We don't stop, so...
I like Reese's Pieces.
There we go. I'm just going to have a handful of these.
So we should probably tell you guys that we're not getting paid for any of this. We just like to eat food. Frankly,
it's delicious!
I think one of the really interesting ones that's a little different, from like, oh, Nike was in this or some car was in this, was Dirty Harry. Now, we all know Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood was the man in that movie. And, of course, he had the .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world at that time, by the way. And not only that, but that famous speech was written by John Milius. I'm going to have to bleep that. I don't care. Because John Milius deserves that moniker. Guy wrote Red Dawn. Guy wrote Conan. Guy wrote Quint's speech in Jaws. Coolest dude ever. He even wrote a video game recently, Homefront.
Yeah, I mean... He's completely awesome.
And because of that movie, the .44 Magnum actually jumped in sales. It became like a big weapon. Everyone wanted to be Dirty Harry. So, Anime, what are some other, cool, things that were in a movie and then blew up because of it?
Like I said before, James Bond has always been really great. You mentioned the Aston Martin, but not just the Aston Martin, but the BMW Z3 from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
That actually, again... giant jump in sales afterwards. The fact is that James Bond is essentially a tastemaker.
I remember when that happened, people were pissed.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the Pierce Brosnan ones, and people were really upset because the Aston Martin had always been James Bond's car, and all of a sudden, since Goldfinger had been James Bond's car, and all of a sudden people were really angry it was BMW.
Yeah, I mean, the Aston Martin was a thing, and there's a reason that it showed up in Skyfall.
Yes.
If you haven't seen that by now, sorry for the spoiler, but really.
You should have seen it by now.
Yeah,
everyone else has.
Speaking of cars, the Italian Job, actually the remake of it, the 2003 remake, that actually helped another failing company. We mentioned before that Reese's Pieces and E.T. helped a failing company to actually survive. Well, the 2003 Italian Job revamped the Mini. And again, this was a company that it wasn't really going anywhere. Certainly wasn't selling in the United States. But all of a sudden, people wanted this cute tiny car.
Yeah, I mean, those are great sequences. I mean, if you ever saw the original Italian Job, those cars who made the things. And the remake actually is one of the better remakes.
It is.
I remember so many people getting the Mini Cooper after that movie. So you're totally right, Anime.
So aside from that, Tom Cruise movies actually tend to have they tend to help Ray-Ban sunglasses. Movies like Top Gun and Risky Business, he wore those sunglasses and, all of a sudden everyone else was getting those sunglasses too. Okay, so with all this great product placement that's really worked in the past,
yes,
we really feel like there are certain movies and some TV shows that truly missed the mark. They missed out on some great potential product placement
opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about some of those movies, some of those missed opportunities.
Yes.
Let's start off with the Saw franchise.
Yeah, that's a huge franchise. There's been 8 movies now or something.
Can you just imagine how great it would have been if, you know, Carrie Ellis was there and, like, you know, in the room with the saw, and it was like, you know, wait, you want me to use this saw from Home Depot?
Yeah, exactly.
Home Depot, come on. Look how well the blood wipes off of this Home Depot saw.
Yes, exactly. But imagine the little Jigsaw on the bike, and he's got, like, Windex or something, he's cleaning off the window.
409. Oh my god, imagine if you got it in your wound. Oh, that would have hurt.
That would have been messed up.
Yeah.
They could have also done the same kind of thing with Lord of the Rings. I think they missed... Really, that could have been a prime opportunity.
Absolutely.
You know? Gollum could have been like, precious Zales!
Yeah, this ring was inscribed at Zales.
Exactly. Think about it. Think about it.
Could have worked.
Because then... But maybe Frodo at the end could have been like, I can't destroy it, Sam! It was custom inscribed from Zales! And he'd been like, Mr. Frodo... I have to agree. George Lucas could do this. He could do a new...
He could just insert...
Yeah, he could insert all this stuff in there.
Oh my god, Luke Skywalker could be wearing Nikes.
Han Solo could have Ray-Bans.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, the lightsabers could be brought to you by Cutco.
Mm.
So next up, they really missed a great opportunity in The Exorcist.
Oh, yes.
You remember when she, you know, when she, like, vomits all over the priest and stuff, and it's like...
Sure do.
You know, the mom comes in and goes... Don't worry about that, Father. I can clean it up with these Bounty paper towels.
Exactly.
They're super absorbent.
And frankly, wouldn't that have made it more realistic if all of a sudden, like, we were like, wait a second, I have Bounty towels. This could happen to someone in my family.
Yeah. I mean, what is the greatest thing in your fight against possession by the devil? Bounty.
You guys really messed up on that one. You should have figured that out beforehand. If your companies even existed back then.
Seriously?
We don't know, but we assume you did. Cheers. And what's the next one we're talking about?
Okay. So I mentioned before about James Bond and how, you know, those movies, like, James Bond is a true tastemaker. Well, the villain in the last movie, Silva.
Yes.
What a perfect opportunity they missed out on for hair dye. Just a scene where Silva is, like, using some nice and easy hair dye to make his hair that beautiful shade of blonde.
It's true. Now, I have not seen pictures of Javier Bardem when he was a young boy, but I'm assuming he's not a natural blonde.
Yeah, I really don't think he is.
I'm just assuming that. Bond could have said a cool, like, one-liner at the end of the movie. It's like, that wasn't so nice and easy. I think that would have worked out well.
I think it really would have.
All right, so next up, I think a big one for this year, and one that maybe a lot of people would have realized, is the fact that, well, The Dark Knight Rises, right? Now, there's this whole thing, and there was, like, Batman, you know, versus Bane, and, you know, we could only sort of understand what Bane was saying the whole time anyway. Yeah. And then, like, he was in this prison in some unnamed country somewhere that was apparently close enough to Gotham for him to get there in a day, but far enough away that we were scared that he would be, you know, lost forever. Anyway, he didn't know what anyone said, right? Especially Bane. So wouldn't it have been perfect if he had his Android and had Google Translate?
Right?
Then when Bane is like, oh, Mr. Wayne, I'm Gotham's Reckoning, he would have known. He would have said, well, Mr. Wayne, I'm Gotham's Reckoning. He would have been like, oh, you're a bad guy.
I'm not sure that they would actually, in that, have the, you know, the Bane language, but... In the least, he could have used it for that point where, you know, where all the guys are, like, in the jail chanting.
Yes.
And you know, and he's all like, what are they saying? And, you know, and he has to have somebody there with him to go, they're saying rise. He
could have been like the hipster prick, and he could have been like, and the guy could have walked up and said, do you want to know what they're saying? He's like, no, I got it. Rise.
So they did another American Pie movie this year. They did American Pie Reunion. Now, imagine if Hostess had gotten involved there. Imagine if in this movie they had switched out that pie for a Twinkie. Just imagine, people.
It might have saved Hostess, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Hostess now. We don't know where their products are going, you know? But they could have saved themselves by making that product tie-in. I mean, he's just, like, in that first movie, got a generic apple pie. I mean...
What's that about? That could have been from any place.
Yeah. But, you know, a Twinkie.
Yep.
It's a perfect shape.
I gotta say, ergonomically speaking, it sort of makes a little more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was always afraid, like, you know, once he hits the pan, what happens then?
Yeah.
But with the Twinkie, it's like, you know, mazel tov.
Can you imagine how much Twinkie sales would have gone up after that?
That's true. And you know what? You don't have to imagine what they're doing with the Twinkies. Just be glad you're selling them.
Okay, so finally, we're going to talk about a really important show that was on a while back, To Catch Predator.
I mean, has there been more of an altruistic show ever created? I mean, they're catching these guys so that they don't prey on the children of America.
Right. Now, you know how, Chris Hansen would come in and accost these guys and be like, why are you sending, these perverted emails to this person that clearly says it's a 13-year-old girl? But before that happens, the person comes in and, and then there's a decoy there. And,
yes, the big girl.
What happens then, Dave?
He'll be like, oh, hello? And he'll hear from the other room, hi, come on in! I'm making some cookies! Just wait a second, I'll bring you some!
Yeah.
And of course, they're like, oh, I'm gonna get into some freaky deaky, probably gonna send me to jail stuff. But in fact, Chris Hansen's gonna come out and pwn them.
Yeah. Now imagine if they had taken that opportunity and that little girl, that decoy girl had been like, hey, I'm just making some Toll House cookies.
Hey, would you like some Country Time lemonade with that? Along with Old Fashioned and Pink, we now have strawberry.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. It would have been perfect. Yes. Not only would they have been doing that great service for humanity.
Yes.
But they also would have had an amazing product tie-in.
Yes, and maybe if they had sponsors like that, they could have pushed away the people who said this was bad because it was a good thing.
Yeah,
and shame on everyone who got that taken off air.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like cookies, by the way, but that doesn't mean anything. Don't read into that. I just enjoy cookies. Everyone enjoys cookies, okay, you sick freaks?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not bringing those cookies to 13-year-old girls.
So.
No.
Yeah. No.
I don't think that's making it in the cut either.
No. No. Why would you think that? Am I being accused? Am I in trial?
Half of this show is going to be a blooper reel.
What have you heard?
Why is your bag filled with condoms and beer?
We're like marketing geniuses here, Anime.
People really have to listen to us.
I know. Why don't you guys listen to us more? Clearly, not only do we have clear-headed, great ideas.
Well, Dave, that was a great show on product placement.
Classy show on product placement. Yeah.
Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to geekworldradio@yahoo.com. And be sure to check out our website, geekworldradio.com. Plus, don't forget, you can also tune into our radio show every week on Indie 100 and The Point. We'll see you guys next week.
Well, now it's time to with an non-stop day. It's safe to say we'll have some fun today on Geek World Radio.